Remember when everyone was talking about that border crisis, the surge of Haitians fleeing, an earthquake and political unrest? Remember those men on horses herding those migrants like escaped slaves? Well, we didn't forget. With us this morning is BNC's Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Nayyera Haq. And Nayyera, mixed messages from Homeland Security. They still continue to turn migrants away because of what is called Title 42. But the Homeland Security Secretary is saying he doesn't support the policy. Explain.
Yeah, that's a tricky one to explain, Del, because the Title 42 is a rule that the Trump administration started to use that used public health as a concern for stopping migrants at the border, not allowing people to come in and seek asylum, which is an international right. Now, that is a choice that the administration made, and to decide to continue that policy now. So when the Secretary of Homeland Security says that Title 42 is not a policy the government would embrace, well, they don't have to embrace it. This is a choice they are actively making to deny people the international right to seek asylum inside the country.
Nayyera, this is just another one of those stories that is waiting for the media to go away. There are still, by our count, 20,000 Haitians that are stuck in Northern California, and we are hearing reports that tens of thousands of Brazilians could be on their way to the border. Are we looking at what would be a second wave?
Del, we know that the camp that was under the Del Rio Bridge about 3 weeks ago held up to 14,000 Haitians at one point. But at least 4,000 have been confirmed deported back to Haiti. Around 6,000 or 7,000 at least have been paroled inside the U.S. and asked to return for a hearing in a few months to discuss their status. The Brazilian piece of the puzzle, though, is even more concerning, knowing that this wave is coming. At the southern border, 46,000 Brazilians were apprehended trying to come into the United States illegally. 46,000. And we hear that there may be even more continuing heading up north. So the crisis that we saw a few years ago in the Northern Triangle, which is Central America, that crisis of famine, that crisis of corruption, of insecurity, of gang violence, has continued to travel further south into Latin America, which is part of why people are now trying to move their way north, seeking a better life.
And what makes this so confusing is people say, well, what about all those Afghan immigrants, the ones that were evacuated from Afghanistan as that country collapsed? A much different picture painted for the Afghans coming to this country. Why?
Indeed, the Afghans effectively welcomed with open arms and rescued from the falling country by U.S. military. Now, the Afghans that are here and being processed in the United States right now were people who had worked with the U.S. military. Many were in the process for visas and immigration, which is, an American green card that they were promised by the U.S. military and had been in that process, some people up to 9 years. So in that sense, they were following the legal procedures, and as their country collapsed, the U.S. military rescued them. But let's be clear. There is a racism built into U.S. immigration policy that blocks people from even being heard at the southern border where black and brown migrants are coming in, but has minimal protections on the northern border where at least 60,000 Canadians have come into the United States illegally. So there is a clear disparity built into the system of what rules get applied and how strictly those rules get applied when the people are black and brown.
And as you pointed out, this is something that the president could do away with the stroke of a pen. Nayyera Haq, our Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent. Nayyera, as always, thank you very much.